Hey everybody, welcome to Food Well Live here on Friday, May 8th. We are in a bit more of a somber mood than we usually are. Wanted to open the show really by recognizing Ahmaud Arbery, who was gunned down, hunted, frankly. About 2 months ago, we saw the video of that come out this week, and very, very disturbing. All of this going on in the midst of a global pandemic that we see in this country is primarily affecting black and brown people. We see immigrants are being largely impacted by this. We have 30 plus million people unemployed over the course of about 7 weeks. In addition, we're seeing that black and brown people are primarily the ones passing away from this disease. We're also seeing that black and brown Americans are unable or receiving relief loans at a significantly lower rate. And, as we find these numbers out in terms of who's being most affected by the coronavirus, we start opening the country back up. And in no way should it have taken 2 months for the murderers of Ahmaud Arbery to be arrested, much less tried. And so while we try to process all of that's going on, all of that's impacting our brothers and sisters, we just have to unfortunately be reminded of this country's history. And I'm honored today to be talking to two people who have really meant a lot to me, who have meant a lot to local food, two Atlanta natives who have seen all there is to see when it comes to these issues that we're talking about. And so whilst I wasn't able to bring the positive energy to open this up, I think that we're going to really celebrate Black excellence here on this show today. We are going to be speaking with Khari Diop of Think Green Inc., who has meant a lot to gardens and farms, seniors and school children, such a community-oriented focus and mission. Very excited to talk with him next about the work he's been doing over the last couple of weeks. And then I know we're going to have the energy for my man Lelo Jones. He's a good friend of mine, a member of the Farmers Jam band. Somebody I have a ton of respect for, somebody who I think that you're going to like, somebody I know that you should follow. And, we're going to move forward in light, knowing that there is a solution, and we're going to support the people who are part of that solution. So shout out to Common for helping me with this intro. Felt like that was a good way to segue into Black excellence. And we're going to bring on Khari Diop here right now about all his garden work he's been up to the last few weeks. Khari!
Yo, what's up, JC?
Man, he's in the middle of it. This is what I'm saying. Always working.
What it is, man.
Hey, it's good to see you. Can you tell everybody where you're at right now?
Yeah, I'm in beautiful Southwest Atlanta at the Providence Baptist Church Community Garden. Yeah, so check it out.
Yeah, looks like there's some banana trees back there.
Yeah, some beautiful bananas that was planted back in the day by Grow Where You Are, when they were managing the space, Bubby Jean and Sister Nicole, and all of the many volunteers that they had helping them out with this space. So just trying to do it justice and, give back to the energy that I've received from this space for many years. So.
That's right. Yeah. No, and it really is a beautiful sight. Glad to see that you're able to do it some justice. Wondered if you could kind of tell people just a little bit about what your role in Atlanta has been, just all the ways in which you've been serving community and growing food, and then we can kind of talk about how it is you've been stepping it up in the last few weeks.
Yeah, man. So, I've been in the local food movement since I count back to 97 when I went through an AmeriCorps program. We did school gardens and community gardens as part of that. And that's actually where I met Food Well Alliance's own Fred Conrad, who, was kind enough to bring me on to this project as Foodwell's community garden coordinator in response to the COVID-19 crisis. So over the past couple of weeks, I've been to probably 20 plus gardens, helping out gardeners and garden managers, make sure that they're prepped and ready for spring planting in this time where we need to practice social distancing. So
That's
yeah,
right.
man.
That's right.
Been working
And
this beautiful
yeah,
machine right here.
I was gonna say, show us the machine.
Yeah, so this is a BCS tractor that has served me well, my friend. This one right here comes from the Atlanta Community Tool Bank. As you can see right here, they've got a wonderful program where they are sharing tools with urban farmers and gardeners to make sure that we can get our beds prepped and ready and get plants in the ground so we can feed people. Yep.
Um, and I was, I know that you have done a lot of garden work with seniors in the past. I was wondering if you could kind of talk about how,
Oh yeah.
important that work has been, but what it's meaning to seniors right now to be able to get local food.
Yeah, so about three or 4 years, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I worked with an organization which you know well, and probably most of our viewers know well, Habesha, um, which stands for Helping Africa by Establishing Schools at Home and Abroad, founded by Brother Kashan Myers and his wife Shagan. So about 3 years ago, they asked me to join a project, I think of as garden ministry to senior citizens. And we established a program called the Golden Growers Program, where we were at about 4 or 5 senior residential facilities that had community gardens, and we provided the labor, the resources, the tools, whatever the elders needed in order to really come full circle and get back to their roots of growing. Many of the elders that we worked with had grown up on farms, had worked on farms as their youth and gotten away from it. And we even had some brand new gardeners as well. So 60, 70, and 80-year-old people out there getting it in the soil. So, yeah, that was a great experience of mine. And, I actually got to work with one of the gardens over in Eastlake earlier this week. I got to go over there and put in some work as well. So that was very fulfilling for me.
Oh man, you're over in my neck of the woods.
Oh,
I should have come out to see you.
No doubt.
So I know that you're obviously busy right now. I don't want to hold you up too much, but I was just kind of wondering, I had seen on Instagram that you posted about a moment where you have maybe started learning about gardening and you got to help like repurpose that garden again here through the work with Foodwell. And I was just kind of wondering if you could talk about what that moment was and just what it's like to see these sites grow and progress.
No, that was dope, man. Last Saturday, I was out at 40 Acres Nature Preserve in Clarkston. It's owned by the Cobb County Parks. And 23 years ago, I was part of an AmeriCorps program called Eco Watch. And we were housed in that space. So for me to come back 20 plus years later and to be able to help global growers transform that space, and I just put in a little bit of work. They really had done all of the heavy lifting. So I was able to come in and put in a little bit of work and help them to get that land ready for their growers, who are primarily refugee families, come in and put some food in the ground out there so far. So lately I've been able to hit really 4 of the 5 Metro Atlanta counties. I'm still looking for something to do in Clayton. So if anybody knows any community gardens or even school gardens in Clayton that need some TLC, make sure you get in touch with Fred or Flannery or even yourself, anybody at Foodwell Alliance, and express your need and your desire. And God willing, fingers crossed, I'll be able to make it down there to lend a hand, make it happen.
Well, hey, I'll reach out to our friend Wande, who joined us a couple weeks ago, who's down in Clayton County at the Little Ones Learning Center, and maybe she'll be able to help us out.
That's what's up. I'd love to do it.
So I just wanted to say, for anybody who wanted to kind of learn more about what it is that you do or potentially hire your services, how can people learn more about Think Green and just connect with all that you have to offer?
Yeah, just friend me, like me. You know what I'm saying? Reach out. I'll be happy to help. Thankfully, Foodwell Alliance is filling up my plate with so much work. I've just been amazed, man, by the numbers of gardens I've been able to visit. And just to let people know out there that the local gardening, community gardening movement and gardeners are going strong here in Atlanta. We're not letting, uh, the global situation put a damper on what we're doing. We're resourceful, as all people who have to deal with the challenge of working with Mother Nature are, and we're making a way out of no way out here. So um, please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions whatsoever about gardening or transforming your space in the gardens. If I can't do it, you got brothers like On the Farm, Ross Kofi, who are doing it. You got brothers like Charles Greenlee with Eco Paradigm that are doing it. Of course, you got Lelo coming up. He's doing it. Holmes Go Hard is doing it. So, and Eugene and Nicole, I know they got their hands full with Mayfield Farm and other spaces. But be assured that if you need support, we are here for you. Atlanta's local growers are still going strong and ready to lend a hand in making abundant local food a reality as we move towards food sovereignty for our urban communities here in Atlanta.
Thank you. Beautifully said, my man. And obviously, rain or shine, doing the work. So thank you, man.
No doubt.
Appreciate all the hard work you've been doing. And we celebrate you. So
Appreciate
thank you,
too, JC. Doing the thing, man. Y'all get ready for Lelo. Get ready for Lelo.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We're about to crank it up. He just texted me. He's having trouble finding the stream. So hopefully we could get him on here. But yes, it will be a good moment.
Okay. Much love.
All right. Appreciate it, Khari. We'll see you soon. All right, man. Great quick interview there with Khari Diop. As you can see, an extremely busy man. As he mentioned, he's been hitting up community gardens around Metro Atlanta, at least 20 in the last couple of weeks. We see Lelo in the comment section. I guess that was just a nervous text. But speaking of which, we'll go ahead and bring Lelo on. He's also been installing some gardens for... Lelo's such a big deal these days. He's been installing gardens for celebrities. So excited to talk to him about what he's been up to here in just a second. Lelo!
What's happening, dog? What's happening, my man? How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. It's Friday.
Yes, it's Friday. And I'm doing the IG Live with the food break alive. Yeah,
yes, man. It's so good to see you. Good to hear you. I just wanted to kind of get a sense for all that you've been through. I mean, let me just take a step back a minute. We probably met, maybe 2 years ago?
Word. Actually, about 2 years ago at the same spot that Khari's at right now.
That's right. I forgot about that. But yeah. And so you have been involved with Atlanta. You've had to, unfortunately, move around quite a bit. You've got some different connections at different sites.
Right.
But could you just tell everyone a little bit about kind of just your general history, how you got into growing food, and then just what you've been up to in the last year that's brought you to this point?
Well, in short, ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to be a farmer. Born and raised in Southwest Atlanta, you know what I'm saying, right around the corner from where Khari is at, you know what I mean? I literally used to probably walk past that spot on a daily basis, you know what I mean? And just never really knew about the inspiration. I had no one around me that was doing it at that time, growing up in the 90s, you know what I mean? But as things started to change and going to college and coming back home, I just started seeing more people like Eugene and Nicole who were over there at the Grow Where You Are spot. That was, Providence Baptist Church was one of the Grow Where You Are spots. And like I said, I frequently passed there, and I just saw how they were transforming the area, and that's what I wanted to do for the area. So one day I just saw them out there working. We connected, and then things just started growing from there, as well as one of my high school teachers, Mr. Murray, the OG in Atlanta. He always had a garden ever since I was in high school and beyond that, you know what I mean? And I used to always try to tell him to let me grow something. So when he finally did let me come in his yard and finally get my hands dirty, I never turned back, dog. You know what I mean? I mean, own it. And so my whole method to the madness has always been to teach people in a way that they can understand and take that knowledge, that quote unquote the country knowledge of farming and food and food sovereignty and bring it to us in the city in a way that people can understand it. They'll retain it a little bit better because I use a method called edutainment. You know what I'm saying? To try to plant it right there in their brains. You know what I mean? And try to break down some of those, I guess you could say, generational scars and wounds that we may have dealing with food, farming, getting outside. And some people feel like they're above and beyond that. But we all know that everything that we use on this earth comes from nature. So we have to respect that. We need to learn how to work with it. And that's just the knowledge that I try to teach to the people, like I say, in a way that they can definitely understand and they will retain it.
And I was just going to, try to explain your style will be very difficult, but I think that you almost have like different characters that you can bring out depending on your audience, like really to meet people where they're at. And I've seen you do that with, people my age, with children, but I mean, even seeing you interact with, your mom on the video the other day, it's just kind of like you know how to move and operate and just catch people's imagination.
Yeah, man. Like, I'm a busybody type of person, you know what I'm saying? And so I always, growing up, was kind of around a lot of different people, a lot of different age range. I'm an only child, so no matter who I was around, I kind of had to fit in, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't get kicked out the room, you know what I mean? So as it came, it kind of helped me with my communication skills, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm just a big kid, so I understand that, the kids are the future, you know what I'm saying? Parents have to listen to the kids, you know what I mean? If the kids said enough, one day the parents will grasp onto it, and that can start a movement in the home. So I kind of try to focus more on the children because I know they are the tomorrow, and there's way more of them out there than it is the books. You dig what I'm saying? So when I started thinking of the method to the madness, I was like, let's get the kids, you know what I'm saying, at the same time, too, the adults and things who understand some of the big words and the scientific words I may use, like symbiotic relationships and proliferation and things like that. They can catch it and grasp it and understand that jargon and be like, oh, okay, he kind of knows what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole little pound cake, as I call it, a whole bunch of different ingredients put together. You know what I'm saying? To make
I know. And I was just going to tell people, you people, probably because you are so knowledgeable and into the gardening, people probably don't really know that you were a scholarship football player, Division I. You've had a film career, and you also are an MC, and as well as a percussionist here in the Farmers Jam Band. I mean, it's like you said, it's just a bunch of ingredients that come together to just that release that positive energy. And really, I think you really said it best because you really capture the kid in everybody. So it's like you focus on the kids to make sure they can understand, but you bring that out of everybody that you interact with.
Man, it's like the yellow glasses, you know what I'm saying? They're a symbolization of the sun, and the sun is fun. It brings life and energy to everybody. You know what I'm saying? So when people see these glasses, they already know. Don't come around here with that negativity, because all I'm going to do is outshine it, baby.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, hey, look, I wanted to let people know that you're doing some garden installs, but I wanted to make sure that you're still doing garden installs for regular people and not just for celebrities.
Yes, I am. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's not just about the garden installs. The number one thing is the education. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely can work things out with what you just said, the regular people, which I am. You know what I'm saying? It just so happens I might know a couple people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you go on my Instagram at Lelo_Jones, you can kind of see some of the things we've been doing this year. I've been mainly focusing on the square foot gardening methods when I'm implanting raised beds, just so people can find the knowledge of how the plant integration as well as heavy plant, I guess you could say, but I just messed up my big word I was trying to use.
You're talking about companion plants, basically?
Yeah, that's it, the companion planting, yeah. And do heavy companion planting so that we can maximize that space as well as deter pests and help them understand more method of how nature grows things, you know what I mean? Because people get kind of confused when they want to do the roles and things like that. And I tell them all the time, you lose space, you're losing a lot of energy. But if you can pack things close together like things grow in the wild, you know what I mean? Things will still grow, you still be able to eat good, and you can have more variety in your beds with fruits, herbs, vegetables, things of that nature that are definitely needed in times like this to keep the immune system boosted and keep us in high energy so we can make it through this craziness. You did.
Yeah, man, so important. And I see that we got our friends Gilliam's Community Garden who's joined. They've been doing some great educational classes too. So be sure to check out our friends at Gilliam's.
In the West End.
That's right. And just wanted to just highlight real quick, just if you are looking for this kind of garden education or an installation, check out Lelo's profile, Lelo Jones. You can also find him at Outdoor Fresh Farm. The OFF. So I was also just wanted to, get into some of the things you've been doing in the last couple of weeks. You had a show that's come out that you've been putting together with D Ferg. You also were hanging out with Killer Mike and doing a garden install for 2 Chainz. I mean, how did all this come together for you?
Well, like you said, it's a big pound cake. So just being from Atlanta and, being a real native of Atlanta and doing the work here at the same time. And as you can see on my Instagram, it's been years and years of me doing the outdoor thing. And at the same time, too, Killer Mike went to Doug High School, Astro for life, you know what I mean? And his basically mentor was Mr. Murray, who was my mentor. So talk about gardening. He was our art teacher, and Mr. Murray had a reputation of dealing with us kids who, needed a little extra attention, you know what I mean? Those ones who, used to get in trouble all the time, have attention problems, can't sit down, you know what I'm saying? He used to put a pencil or something in our hand and make us draw, and then tell us a story or two. Next thing you know, the bell ring, and you like, oh man. And I was one of those people, like most, who was cutting class just to go back to Mr. Murray class. You did.
Oh, wow.
So one day, me and Mr. Murray getting it in his backyard, he called Killer Mike up. Killer Mike came through. He saw the swag I had going on and saw the knowledge, and he just spread it some love and put me out there on his Instagram page. From there, that flowed over to my man 2 Chainz, you know what I'm saying? Got to holler at him and do a dope custom raised bed for him, still with the square foot method and everything of that nature, and build him a custom sweet potato planter. So that just took that higher. And then me and D Ferg, we worked over there at Tyler Perry Studios together, getting it in. I worked over there for, since 2009, 2010, after I graduated college, what have you. And so from there, he saw what I was doing on YouTube for a couple years, and we linked up and I was like, bro, we can make it bigger, better. And now it's just like, wow, it just exploded. You dig what I'm saying? And so here we are.
Here we are, yeah. And that, how did you create that raised bed for 2 Chainz? I mean, that's obviously not just wood you can pick up. Like that is legit, man.
Hey man, I can't divulge all my creativity skills. But that's one of those things that elevate the price point, baby. You know what I mean? I can make your own raised bed, but you can't make one that's player. It's me though.
I mean, hey, I got it. That's 100% true. True, as they say.
True, yeah. Man. And like I say, shout out to Killer, shout out to 2 Chainz for giving me the opportunity, as well as letting me and my squad. Shout out to my boy over there, UFO ATL. You know what I mean? That's how we're making this dope merchandise. Be on the lookout for that. You know what I mean? The show will be on my Instagram TV page every Monday. You know what I mean? So keep up with that, as well as if you need garden consultations, you want to learn about gardening, farming, you can get at me. I was working around in the city with a lot of elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools, spreading the knowledge to them before the CB19 thing happened. So that would kind of change the method to the madness and start doing a little bit more personal installs and things of that nature, because we still got to get the knowledge out there. We still got to spread the message. We still need to learn how to eat. We still need to learn how to grow. We still need to learn how to be sustainable and work with Mother Nature in a way that we're not killing her. You dig what I'm saying?
For sure, man. Well, hey, I appreciate all the hard work that you've been doing. I appreciate you as a friend.
Yes.
And I just wanted to, kind of give it up for the last word. We're going to wrap up the show here for today, but anything that's on your mind, anything you want to share with the world, I kind of leave that up to you.
Hey, man, y'all need to keep the vibration high, keep the energy high, spread positivity, spread love. You know what I'm saying? There's always tomorrow, and I always know that the sun will come after the rain, and the rainbows will always be a beautiful thing. You dig what I'm saying? Thank you very much, dog, for having me out here, and y'all be safe out there. You know what I mean? Do what you need to do to keep your immune system high, okay?
All right, we'll leave it at that. Appreciate it so much, Lelo. We're going to go ahead and wrap up the show. Thanks, everybody, for joining. We want to, again, call for justice for Ahmaud Arbery. We want to celebrate the Black growers who are able to join us today, the Atlanta natives who are bringing people healthy food, who are fighting for justice. We support you. We appreciate you. And we encourage everybody who's tuning in to please grow your own food. Shop from a local farmer's market, but get in touch with the local food system, because together we can bring about healing and we can start to bring about the work of justice here in this country. Thank you all for tuning in. Really appreciate you. And we're going to catch you again next week, Fridays at 1. We'll see you there. Peace.